Hey everybody, it's Chris, bringing you the promised review of the Dynamic Discs Slammer. As you may have heard, and as I'm going to definitely show you, the Slammer is an overstable putt and approach disc. A couple things to know about it. It does have a thumb track, similar to the Latitude 64 Caltrop that released recently. Because of that thumb track, it is very flat, with a slight concave wing and a bead on the bottom. For review purposes, you're going to see me throwing it side by side with the Latitude 64 Caltrop. I did that for a couple reasons. One is that they both have a thumb track, and I like the similar feel. It gives me a more consistent release for review purposes. The other reason is I'd already reviewed the Caltrop, where I put it up against a Cenis and a Harp, and you can see that review here if you want to watch it. Or otherwise, the quick recap is I acknowledge it's not as overstable as either one of those. It's definitely a straighter disc, but it's still a very solid approach putter that does have a reliable fade at the end. And I figure if you already watched that review, and then you compare it to what it does against the Slammer, you can put those four in the same ballpark. In this review, though, what you're going to see is the Caltrop's still doing its thing. You throw a slight hyzer, it flips up, it glides, it fades out. Super reliable. I've said good things about the Caltrop in the past. I'll keep saying them. Slammer, on the other hand, you throw it with a slight hyzer, it flips up to slightly less hyzer, and it hyzers out. No matter the release angle I put these two discs on, the Slammer was always coming down on a harder edge. It was just a very aggressive, overstable putt and approach. I noticed a few throws in that I was adjusting for target purposes. If I was aiming at like a basket, I was putting the disc higher and wider right so that it had more time to swing, and I was still missing left. I was actually having to adjust more. So if you are looking for a very aggressively overstable putt and approach disc, one that you're not going to be too afraid of turning over, give the Slammer a try. As a bonus, you get to see me throw forehand. Feel free to laugh. I laughed when I saw it. And there's also a frame in here that I'm trying out. It's like 9.5 seconds, where I'm going to put these two discs on split frame. So I think the Slammer's on top, but I don't remember, and the Caltrop's on bottom. And I got those frames as linked up as I could so that the release points were a similar time. Let me know what you think of that split frame for comparison's sake. And as always, if you have questions or comments, please put them in the bottom. I'll get back to you. Or if there are discs coming out that you have questions about, put that down there as well. Love to chat with you, and maybe we can get some more reviews out there. But Dynamic Disc Slammer, super overstable putt and approach disc. Definitely give it a try. Thanks. Alright, going to the field, I wanted to compare the Caltrop to the Slammer because they are both new and they do have the thumb track. So first you get to see me throw the Caltrop. This is about a 60%, 70% approach shot, just looping it out to the right and letting it hyzer in. And then here comes the Slammer. Tried to throw it about the same line. I think I put a little bit more height on it, but you can also see there's quite a bit more stability. This thing's fighting to get down to the ground. This is an experiment to see if I can sync the videos so you can see the different level of stabilities in the two discs. You can see just how much more overstable the Slammer is than the Caltrop. So this next set of throws is about 80%. Wanted to give a fairly flat throw so you could see how stable the finish is of both discs. As you can see, the Caltrop goes fairly straight, fades out nicely at the end, as opposed to where the Slammer is going to come out and you're going to watch it just tilt over almost immediately and begin cutting left on a hard hyzer. The upcoming clip is for all those guys that keep asking me to throw forehands. You're going to get to see just how bad my forehand is. Don't worry about critiquing. I'm working on it. I know it's terrible. It is a work in progress. These next two throws are just simple approach shots from right around 200 feet. I wanted to set the discs out to the right and let them slide back over to the pin. And see the Caltrop slides up nicely. And the Slammer, I'm noticing that I'm starting to mentally adjust for just how stable this disc is. You're going to see it go higher and wider than the Caltrop did, and still that wasn't enough of an adjustment. You can watch it cut through the screen and actually skip just outside to the circle's edge. I also wanted to see what the two discs would do if I forced a little bit of anhyzer onto them. You can watch the Caltrop cuts right, and if the hill hadn't been there, it would have fought back a little bit more, but it stays over. Whereas the Slammer, I'm not going to get quite as much on it, but in fairness, even if I had gotten more on it, this disc just wants to go left. So this is probably my favorite shot of the morning. Gave just a little bit of flex to the disc, even though it looks like straight hyzer. On this shot, it's about 250 feet up the hill, and it manages to skip within 10 feet of the pin. I didn't feel like I got quite enough footage this morning, so I went back out this evening to throw the Slammer a little bit more. So you're just going to see some hard throws. This was just with some height and letting it fade out. The Caltrop, as you can see, I did put it just a touch wider, but there's quite a bit of difference in the finishing points. This last set of throws is with flex into a headwind, so you can see that difference in stability just one last time. To wrap up, I want to say thank you all for watching. I hope this video was fun and informative, and if you're looking for a very overstable putt and approach disc, the Slammer is going to be a great option for you when it comes out. Look for it to hit shelves soon. As always, if you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thanks, everybody.